Philly Beer Week epitomizes the Philadelphia beer scene so well. It has like the perfect ringleader for it in Don Russell, Joe Sixpack.
The roots of it were that there was an event in this city called the Book and the Cook that faded away.
We always had Michael Jackson here for an amazing event every year for that for 20 years. We were afraid we were going to lose him. So we tried to figure out a way that we could still have that big Michael Jackson event at the University of Penn. And we decided we should just do the Philly Beer, do a whole week of beer events instead of food events, and have him be the big anchor event of the thing. Do a year worth of planning, everything happens. He passes away before we ever have the first Philly Beer Week. And as far as I'm concerned, he's really responsible for Philly Beer Week existing.
When Bruce and I first founded Philly Beer Week, we were sitting down talking, and I asked Don Russell to join us, and we chatted about it a bit. So then we started asking brewers and beer writers, restaurateurs, hoteliers.
Tom and late Bruce Nichols and Don Russell and some of the PR people, Jenny Hatt, they've done an amazing job at getting the word out about what a great city we are to drink. I love it. I mean, it started, a bunch of us sat down, a lot of the early meetings happened right in here in the pub.
And frankly, a lot of these people are completely crazy and come up with great ideas for events. And people said, hey, wouldn't it be great if we had a freaking hammer that we could use to open up the first keg? And the Hammer of Glory is virtually the Olympic torch of Philly Beer Week.
We entrust you with the Hammer of Glory, the omnipotent symbol of our beloved Philadelphia Beer Week. May your journey be safe. Work ye up a thirst, for there shall be beer waiting for you at your destination. Godspeed.
Thank you. There we go. Fergie gets hit by a truck and it's all over.
Friends clap, where my good friends at? Where my good friends at? Let me hear my good friends clap. Let me hear my good friends clap.
This has become an incredible event, and people are talking about it, not just across Philadelphia, but all across the nation. Philly's a great town. Of course, go Flyers! So even if it wasn't Philly Beer Week, there'd be a whole lot of beer being drank this evening, but it is. Enjoy the events, enjoy the city, enjoy the great time. Philly is making national history once again with this great event. Thank all the sponsors and people who are involved here. There are a ton of folks outside, and so without any further ado, I'll try to do this, not hurt myself, or do any other damage to anything else. Hold on.
Here we go, folks. On the count of 3, let's do it. 1, 2, 3. And there is simply slash for the Flyers game, folks.
Philly Beer Week truly is a phenomenon in the true sense of the word because, everybody went into it very enthusiastically hoping that we would generate a ton of interest, and it was beyond a ton, and it continues to grow. Philadelphia is a very natural place for this. We are not pretentious. So you put together great food, great beer in unpretentious environments, that's going to sell to Philadelphians. And so when you're working with people that have been in the industry, guys like Tom Peters, myself, William Reed, these are the folks that were the stubborn bastards that made Philadelphia the beer town it is when there was a time it was the Coors Light capital of the world, mid-'80s. So we're the ones that refuse to go away, refuse to accept inferior beer, and we've worked very well together as a community of many more people in order to create an event for an audience that absolutely adores what's being done here in beer.
And so I'm really hopeful that it continues to grow. It's already a phenomenon, as we talked about. We've had over 25 other cities copy Philly Beer Week on a smaller scale, obviously.
When we had the preliminary meetings to set it all up, one of the first things I said is we should copyright Beer Week. But we didn't.
We love Opening Tap being right there at the birthplace of America. No other city can match that. I'm sorry, but there's only one Liberty Bell, and we happen to have a big beer festival right in its shadow.
Philly Beer Week is ridiculous. That's a good thing. Ridiculously good. It's, really and truly, everybody coming from all over the world, all these Belgian brewers, blown away by the back bar at Monk's, and we seem to have a a selection of beers that you don't have in most places in Belgium. We seem to have it all.
Part of what makes it really amazing is the community, and the actual bars are a key part of it. That it's not all brew pubs and it's not all breweries here, and that the bars are a big part of what lends character to the whole scene.
And the ability for Philadelphians to get together at their favorite bar and talk with each other and learn from each other over a beer, I think is what helps make this a great city. That's something that happens in many cities. I'll concede that 100%. But I think here in Philadelphia, it's really, more than any other place, it helps define the character of our city.
You're walking around during beer week and things are just popping everywhere. I drove down into the city, I'm driving down, not even sure what event I'm gonna go to. I drove past 3 brewers I know on the street. I'll go to that event. You know, I wound up at Varga with Casey Hughes from Flying Fish. It was a great night. You know, and it was just, that kind of thing's happening all over the city. It's electric that week.
I think it's a great event. I think it's a great event for the city. You know, it's just a lot of events, and you just see the locals coming out so strong.
And just seeing this guy's bar packed that's a half a block from us, and our bar packed, and hearing about this South Philly bar that's packed, and all these different events, it was really just showing off.
I get the best of it. Casey's on the board, he's got to deal with it on like a daily basis. I get to think about it, throw an idea to Casey maybe once a month, you know. But and so I love it. I think it's my favorite time just as a bar owner.
And there's so many bars that have great events. Places are packed at lunchtime, happy hour, all day. I mean, yeah, you always said it's 10 days long. It's a marathon of beer drinking for 10 days. But it's probably one of the greatest events going.
People, you know, kind of schedule their vacation days at work around Philly Beer Week. They're like, okay, I know I'm going to the shore for a week in August, and Philly Beer Week is in June, so I need to save my 13 days to, you know, accumulate for the summer.
It's awesome. There's so many events, and there's so many great beers. There's no other time to try them. You come in just for that event, and there's breweries that sign up and register your beers just for those 10 days.
It's intense. It's a marathon. It's pretty amazing that the center of the beer world, literally the beer world, is focused on Philadelphia with crazy, awesome importers like a little guy like, you know, Brian Ewing from 12%, bringing these world-renowned brewers here, you know, for a beer dinner, or even, you know, breweries who aren't even in Philadelphia distributing come in just for this week. You know, Deschutes was one of them. Odell's was another.
I love Philly Beer Week. I think that it's really put us on the map as a destination city for beer. I think people come from all over the country and all over the world at this point to come to Philly to drink beer, which is amazing.
I think it's wonderful that people will travel to go drink beer. It's just a cool thing.
It almost becomes a little overwhelming to a certain extent, just because, you know, on any given day there's way more activities than any one human being with an iron liver could possibly do. So that can be a little daunting, but I just think it's great that we see the releases, the brewers, and the beer lovers all getting together and doing what we do best, which is drink beer and do what comes naturally after that.
All these people, and especially beer drinkers, finally realize that Philly has something special here, that this is worth celebration, that all these great bars, all these wonderful beers, these great imported beers that show up, the Belgian beer scene here, the West Coast brews here, this incredible city that we live in, all of it was worth celebrating. People really love beer, and they love beer in Philly.
That's where I spend my days. Small streets, love and real big dreams. The hipsters rocking they skinhead jeans, and the hustlers lurk with their eyes on green. Artists flood the West Philly streets. Old city, you'll find them small boutiques, and most my homies are sneaker geeks. 215, y'all mean the flavor gleam. Just lean and take a stroll with us. Kick, push that board and roll one up. Today the sky shining and we on top. The flies of women in real hip hop. The city's alive, heartbeat to the drum, illuminated by the sun. It's a wonderful time, illustrious vibes, no lie. Sunny Philadelphia, it shines.